Hi, it's Shane McLeod here from Remax Gold in Gladstone, and welcome along for another episode of The Banter. A little bit on and off over the years, but addressing topics that I get asked about through the process of buying and selling real estate. It's not legal advice in any way, it's just a little bit of what I've observed, my opinions based on my industry experience since 2002. And happy to share that with you. Certainly, if there are any topics you would like discussed or something answered, drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you've seen it and enjoyed the content. Certainly subscribe to my channel on YouTube to pick up past episodes of this as well. Okay, so let's get to today's topic in what is a very busy market in the Gladstone region right now, and that is around multiple offers and the offer process. Now, when we're talking about offers on property, look, I think from the legislative point of view, all offers have to be submitted to a seller, no matter what form they come in. We have a fiduciary duty to both seller and buyer to present offers to sellers as they come in. Now, I have some opinions on how those offers should be presented, though, to ensure that all parties are protected through that offer process, and in particular in busy markets like we have right now, where we are seeing lots of multiple offers coming in. So let's go through a few of those processes and things to look out for, both as a seller and a buyer in any market, but in particular busier markets right now. So back in what I call the old days, maybe back when I first started in real estate, and even before that, the old verbal offer was quite popular. And something that was utilised quite often. You know, the buyer would come along to the agent or their representative and let them know that they'd like to offer a certain amount, maybe some conditions attached to that verbally. The agent might go to the seller, let them know. It was basically all done on a handshake, and it would be great if these days that happened. There's certainly there are times and occasions where we like to believe that would be sufficient and the deal would get drawn up and executed by way of a contract from there, and everyone's happy. But unfortunately, things don't always go that way. Terms and conditions aren't all that clear when done verbally, and expectations of either parties aren't clearly set out that way. So if ever you're receiving a verbal offer as a seller, I'd be inclined to say, no, I'm not interested in verbal offers. I want to see something in writing at least to get that offer across. And if you're a buyer, just don't do it. Verbals really aren't worth anything these days. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, we can't take people at their word. Changes of mind can happen very quickly, and things can get lost in translation very quickly as well when they're done verbally. So verbal offers, not a fan of them. We are entitled, we are supposed to pass those on to a seller, and we certainly will do that. The seller is under no obligation at all to consider that verbal offer at all. Okay, the next way we see offers coming through is by way of something in writing. It can be via email, it can be something written down by a buyer, it can come by way of an offer form. Again, I'm not a massive fan of these. Again, they are required to be presented to a seller, but a seller is in no way, again, obligated to accept or consider those offers if they're presented to them in that form. You'll generally see them via a office generated offer form, and there's also an REIQ prescribed offer form as well, which lays out a lot of those details that you would see on a contract. You know, buyers' legal names and all their contact details, what their purchase price might be. It can outlay their special conditions and all of those sorts of things, as do our office generated forms as well. The big thing, I guess, I note on these forms that every seller and buyer, I think, should consider is that there's also in the small print a disclaimer there that says the offer to purchase a residential Queensland via these forms is not a binding contract of sale for the purposes of the Land Title Act 1994. And the most important part of it on the bottom of that paragraph is this notice may be withdrawn at any time by the offerers. And that also goes for sellers too. So you can put one of these offers in by way of a offer form. Everybody can think they've got a deal together, and it can all fall in a heap basically when it comes time to draft up the contract, because they're still basically done up as I think there's about as useful as a verbal offer. There's nothing binding to any party with those notices of offer to purchase. Now, the other thing I guess that comes into play there, especially if there are multiple offers on the property, which we are seeing a lot of right now. So I think it can get a bit lazy for agents to do these up for sellers, particularly in the multiple offer scenario, because as it says on the form, none of those offers are binding. And I'm not saying a lot of people will do it, but it does happen. And that is a scenario where you've got buyers who are frantically buying at the moment, and they might have 3 or 4 of these in on properties at any one time. So a seller can get presented with one of these. It might be the best offer out of the multiples that are on the table in front of them. But we can come to signing a contract, and that buyer could have one of their offers accepted, which is more favourable to them. It's all fallen in a heap at that point for the seller that's missed out. And then they've also run the risk of losing the other buyers who were in there on a multiple offer situation. So that is something that can be a real worry for any seller, that when they're presented with those forms, that buyer can pull out of that offer at any time. From a buyer's point of view, same deal. They could think they've got a deal together, and a seller could then still technically receive other offers. If they haven't responded to that offer in any way by way of writing, they've just maybe given them a verbal saying, yep, we like your offer, we'll keep it, and then something else comes in. If the agent hasn't handled that well, that buyer's lost that property as well. They've lost time in the market, and it just builds a bit of a bad taste in everyone's mouth all around. Look, the other reason I'm not a massive fan of these offer forms being submitted as the offer for a property is really, if you're a seller, you don't know if they're a genuine offer or not. The only way you can be certain that an offer is genuine is that if that buyer has signed a contract of sale outlining all their price, their terms and conditions, and they have signed that offer off, because what they've signed there is a legal binding document. So a seller can consider those offers that come by way of a legal binding document, contract of sale, and make a decision happy in the knowledge that what they might be signing, if they're accepting one of those offers, it then becomes a fully formed contract of sale. It's dated at that point. Everybody's on their way. There does seem to be a little bit of a reluctance from some buyers to sign a contract of sale, particularly in multiple offer situations, but not just that as a standalone, because they're worried about the cost of having a solicitor look over it. And we always recommend that you should have it looked over by a solicitor before you sign any document that is legal and binding, because of the cost. But so the argument is that cost side of it is a little prohibitive after a while. But If you are genuine and you love this property and you are going into it with the intention of wanting to buy that property, that cost should not be a factor there at all. It's all part of your due diligence of following through on that transaction. And if you're not signing off on those contracts of sale, you have no guarantees that your offer will even go through anyway. You can miss other opportunities along the way. If you think you've got a deal together and then the seller has a change of mind, something else comes along. So it can still cost you in a lot of other ways. If you want to get an offer in on a property, sign a contract of sale. It is legal and it is binding. Now, the other thing, as I mentioned there quickly before, is multiple offers. So if you are in a multiple offer situation, best practice, you should be signing a multiple offer document. The REIQ put those out on their notice of offer to purchase. There is a section in there saying that you acknowledge that you're in a multiple offer situation. And now that also states in that situation that you have submitted your best and final offer, because you may not get the chance to renegotiate once your offer goes in. So if you're making an offer and you're told you're in multiple offer situation, sign one of those off and put forward your best offer terms and conditions to make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance to be considered. If you don't get it, you can walk away happy knowing that you've given it your best shot. Any good agent should be offering that anyway, as an assurance that there are actually other offers on the table. Personally, I think agents that don't want to form contracts of sale, I hear a lot of buyers say, because I insist on all of our offers going in by way of a contract of sale, whether it's a multiple offer or just one, to protect both my sellers and my buyers. I hear it all the time. The other agents don't make us do that. Why are you doing it? I do it because I feel it is in the best interests of all parties. Nothing gets lost in translation. Your offer is a formal offer, a proper formal offer by way of a contract of sale, and the seller is given a list of all of your terms and conditions. Nothing is left out, nothing is left to chance where with verbals or the other offers, oh, I meant to put in this, oh, could I also do that? We want to change it to that when it comes time to signing those contracts after, if that's how they've been presented to a seller by other agents. So I believe they all should go in by way of a contract of sale. There is absolutely no grey area for any party on those terms and conditions. And as a seller, you can go into the negotiation or the sale of your property confident that you know all of the terms and conditions up front. As a buyer, you know you've submitted everything as you've wanted it to be submitted to the seller for consideration of your offer on a property that you might be buying. So I hope you found that helpful with a little bit of an outline on that. Just a little recap there. Verbals and offer forms are not a finalised form of an offer on a property and will not are not the final document that results in a sale of a property. The only way you'll get that is via a contract of sale, and if your offer is submitted via that contract of sale, all of your terms and conditions are absolutely laid out in front of you, and you know exactly what you're signing up for. As a seller, you know exactly what you've got to consider within your offer. If I was a seller, I would not accept an offer any other way than via a contract of sale. If you're an agent, and look, it can get tough. I had one property there last week where I had 7 offers on the property. I had to draft up contracts for every one of them, get them out to buyers, give them the opportunity to have them looked over. It's just a matter of being organised. I think agents who don't follow that process are lazy, and particularly in this market where it is so busy, it is more important than ever to know that all of the terms and conditions laid out in front of you via that contract of sale. You know exactly what it is you're getting yourself into from both sides, from the seller and the buyer side. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed those little hints and tips. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel. Give this video a like, share it with some friends. I'm always happy to help. Feel free to pick up the phone at any time for a chat. 041 333 1945. Cheers.